We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully, your day is going well. It's Monday. We have a guest on today. And like yesterday, we have a guest that's never been on before. Her name is Eulena. She is from Texas, and she is with us today. Thanks for joining us, Eulena.
Thank you for inviting me.
I met you for the first time uh, uh, on a live we did. We brought you up, and you were talking, and you were inspired. You kind of taking us to church a little bit. And I said, that girl's got to come on the show because she sounds like she has some feelings about these things. And, that's what we need is people with passion. And as a young woman of color, these times have to be particularly trying uh, for you, especially living in Texas. Maybe nothing that's happening to you, but certainly concerns.
Yes, yes,
How are
I'm
you
part of
feeling
the
these days?
90%. It's scary. I'm not gonna lie. It's a lot of anxiety, and you just don't know what to expect. Um, you really don't. So I just go as of now. I go with the flow. I'm gonna be honest. I always tell people, Donald Trump is not my president. Let's just
Well,
be clear. He's not my president. Point blank. Period. And so I know people say that, hey, there are people out here that are faking, like they voted for Kamala, but they're um really Trump supporters. They're easy to tell if they really voted for Kamala or if they are really Trump supporters. Anybody that voted for Kamala, and I listened to your TikTok live, and I remember the veteran Michael, that passion Michael had at how upset he was, um, that he's a veteran and it's a possibility that they're going to cut his benefits or they might get rid of him. That's a true Kamala voter. When I hear
right.
a person say, I voted for Kamala, but she lost, so we need to get peace. So you get basically the finger, the middle finger. You were a Trump supporter. You never were
Right.
Kamala. So I just I'm able to deviate. So when I hear people do things like that, I'm just like, okay, whatever, whatever. So
How do
um
you feel when somebody comes? I know how I feel about this. When somebody who's a Trump supporter, now that they've won, they want to do one of two things. They either want to continue to argue with you, which makes no sense because there's nothing to argue about. Just go off and make America great again and show us. But the other thing is, some of them want to act like, well, we need to come together now. We need to unify, and they don't understand why we say no. Fuck. I mean, I've said before, people will ask me, why don't you just compromise with them? I can't compromise in the middle between right and wrong. There is no middle ground. It's either right or you're wrong. And what the Trump and what Donald Trump are doing is completely wrong in every level of the word. Do you get people now that come to you that say, we can be friends now. We won, but it's going to be okay.
no. And those who know me know how I feel. Like I'm not a fake person. So I'm more of I'm a Jasmine Crockett Democrat.
Nice.
You're not gonna gaslight me. You're not gonna gaslight me. I'm not gonna argue with you. And then talking to Trump people, it's like talking to a door. I mean,
Yeah.
they're stuck in their ways. You're never going to change their mind, and I don't want to change your mind. If you want to be stupid your life, then just be stupid. I don't care. But I'm never going to give you energy like that. Now, I like to argue, and sometimes I'm not going to lie. I do like to antagonize and like probe at them, make fun. But you're never going to get the energy you want. I'm never gonna agree with you. I'm never gonna like I don't acknowledge those people because to me I think you're stupid. A lot of them voted against their own interests and they just don't realize it. So now we're doing the FAFO now, and now a lot of them are panicking, and I don't feel sorry for you. I just don't.
Right. Right. Exactly. Well, people are starting to realize that they maybe made a mistake. This whole thing with Elon Musk and the immigrants, get all the immigrants out, get all the brown people out. But Then Elon comes back and says, well, yeah, not the tech people though. We kind of need them. And the MAGA people, they're they're
Too
upset
stupid.
about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
what he
upset
said
about
basically he said they're too stupid to work in the tech industry. Basically what he just him and Vivek just said. You're too stupid to work in technology. So
and
uh
when we had Old Soul on the live, she clarified what he really means. Old Soul has a boyfriend who's from another country and is in tech. And she pointed out he makes like about $85,000 a year, which is a lot of money, obviously. But it turns out if they had to hire a white person from America, it would be double that. So it's not about who's better, it's about who's cheaper, how they can put more money in their pocket. And that's the real issue today.
corporate greed.
What?
Corporate greed.
Oh, well, that, and you know, the thing about it is, I was talking to maybe it was John yesterday or whoever. Um, I think John was suggesting that all this racism and all this other stuff is just a way to group people together to fight with them, where their ultimate goal is not to get a lot of money, but to get all the money. These are just tools that these fucks are using to rob us. I mean, not to say there aren't racist people or sexist people, they certainly are, but they're triggering those people that are susceptible to that in order to perpetuate what they want to do by getting all the fucking money.
Well, a country divided, and I love history. I think one of my favorite history times would be the Roman Empire. And a country divided is a country that's easily conquered.
Right.
When you don't have unity, and you have what we have, I mean, we are a sitting target, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. That's the scary thing. And we have a man is a who wants to be something he will never be. And I'm gonna be honest, I think from what it sounds like, his brother Fred was supposed to be successful, but Donald Trump was always the loser of the family. It's based off of what his niece says. So, um, yeah, I just can't. I don't even know how. I just can't. I'm still in shock that they voted for him. And I'm gonna just say, if we honest with ourselves, it was because of she was black and she was a woman. I mean, there's just no other way to say it. I guarantee you, if it would have been like a Gavin Newsom, we wouldn't be sitting up here having this conversation. He would have won. I think when I saw you talk about when Biden stepped down, I was hurt because I was like you. I knew Biden could beat him. Uh,
Yeah.
I knew he could. I was with you. I was kind of angry. I was kind of upset, but I think Biden, he did what he thought was best, and you can't do anything but respect that. But I was totally with you, and I was like, oh, that's like the wrong thing. But Kamala had the momentum, and it seemed like she had a chance. But of course, we saw what happened. We now know what happened. The one thing I can say about Democrats, sometimes I don't like is this "I'll turn the other cheek" thing.
Yeah. 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 I don't know how to take that. I will say this Joe Biden made a comment yesterday. He said he made kind of an insinuation that he kind of regretted stepping aside. And of course, that's hindsight because he could think, well, if I didn't step aside, we wouldn't have lost. But I think there might be something to that. Joe Biden, for all that people said about him being slow or stammering or losing it or having a bad performance in the debate, the media really jumped all over that. And that scared the Democrats because they're a bunch of pussy ass bitches, frankly. I'm sorry to say that, but they are. They're weak. They aren't tough, and you got to be tough going against a bully because if you're not tough, you're going to get pushed down or whatever. But Donald Trump had a bad debate too. Didn't do a damn thing to him. He won the fucking election. So I think everybody made too big a deal out of it. Do I think Joe should have not run in 2024? Probably, but that should have been decided early on so people had a fair chance. And when they said Joe's going to step aside, I was upset about it because I didn't think there was enough time to get somebody back up to the level to win this race. And then when they went to Kamala, I thought, well, this is interesting. And then Kamala got the enthusiasm, she got the money, she got the momentum. I'm thinking, maybe she could win. And I was excited. One of the few times I've been excited a president being elected because I thought she would be a great president. But what I didn't count on was that Joe Biden had a few things that Kamala didn't. And those few things are, first of all, he had a track record because he was president. He was there. The two other things he had over Kamala was that he was white and he was a man. And I was disappointed because I tell you, I talked to Old Soul before Kamala was even announced as the nominee. Old Soul said she'll never get elected. She'll never get elected. And this is a black woman saying this. I go, what are you talking about? Racism and all this stuff. And I'm dumb. So I'm going, oh, come on. We've gotten over that by now. And she said, no, we haven't. And damned if she wasn't right. I agree with you. I think sexism more than racism, actually. That's my guess.
It was. And let's just be because Hillary had the popular vote, but she still lost. It was and if Hillary, who was a white woman, she didn't win, but Barack, and he was a African American man who was one of my favorite president, even though I think Joe
Absolutely.
Biden did a better job. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think Joe Biden was probably a better president than Obama. Not to take away from anything, but Joe Biden knows how to get things done. And he always took the time to let them have their, "Ooh, we got you" moment. And then he did the atomic boom on, or as we call him, the Dog Brandon. And then they all sitting there with a egg on their face. So I knew he was right when he said, "I'm the only one that can beat this man." I was upset, and I was kind of like you, and your friend was absolutely right. I didn't think she would win either because some people, I guess maybe when you don't are not faced with a lot of
Right.
racism and stuff, you don't see it, so you don't see what we see. I didn't
Absolutely.
believe that she would win. But just like you, I was like, okay, she's got the momentum. She's getting money. Okay, maybe that's the reason why. I'm sure President Biden was like, hey, maybe I did make the right decision. And I think everybody kind of, true people kind of felt that way. But I was very hurt. I really wanted another term with Biden. And I think I had made a comment under his tweet before I got rid of Twitter. Um, you didn't finish the job, Joe. You have so much to do. And and now we're here. And before Trump is not even in office yet, and look what's going on.
Yeah, it's
Look,
already a mess, and he hasn't even taken the office. It's pretty amazing. I would have been happy with Joe Biden winning the election and then retiring a year in and letting Kamala take over. That would have been cool because
that would have.
I had no um, thoughts of anything negative about Kamala becoming president, especially when she came out and started campaigning and such. She was a solid fucking candidate, as solid a candidate as anybody. Now you mentioned Barack Obama, and you thought Joe Biden was better than Barack Obama. I do too, but I'm not doing it to put down Barack Obama. I think Barack
Mm,
Obama, for his situation, he was more of an inspirational president, and Joe Biden was more, uh, uh, what am I trying to say? More of a institutional, or he was just more productive because he knew how to play the game.
exactly. And
And
that was my thing. He was
yeah,
he got more things done. He did. And that's
and
why
this is why Donald Trump can't get shit done because he doesn't know what he's doing,
hmm hmm hmm
and he thinks
that's
everything should bend to him, and that's not how government works.
well, when you are a narcissist and you don't have empathy, him and Greg Abbott are the same people. I mean, let's just be honest. They're both evil to me. Um, I hate to say things like this, but I always tell people, I am I'm not the most religious person, but I am religious. I do believe in God, and I always say the best justice comes after in the afterlife. There's no gaslighting. There's nothing you could try persuade or say. Everything is based on what you did here. And if we look at Donald Trump's record and even Greg Abbott's, there is nothing good that they've done. They've done a
Right.
lot of evil things. So that day that they say they take their last breath and they go to their destination, that would be true justice.
Right. Right.
That's when it begins. So
Uh, and I will tell you this: there will never be any grass growing over Donald Trump's grave. Not because of some supernatural power, because daily people will be pissing on it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he's a hated president. He's hated. I don't care what people. He really is hated. It I just never would have thought that they would. Most people, especially the people that were of color, the Latin, the Asians, the African American men and women, whom he stated he's actually just flat out said, I don't like y'all. Basically, voted for him, and they're
Yeah.
talking about a stimulus check. And I'm thinking he didn't even want to give you the stimulus check. It was
No.
forced by Nancy. Then the only reason why he eventually came in is because he had to have his signature. I mean, this is what 5 and 6 year olds do. That's the
Right.
mentality this man has. I just can't respect anything like that. I can't respect anything like that.
My 4.5-year-old granddaughter has more critical thinking skills than some of these people, and it fucking drives me crazy. She she says to me, "I'm going, you're 4. Just pull it back a little bit." Um, you know, the thing about it is, I've said this about Donald Trump, and some people have pushed back on me about this. I said, I don't think Donald Trump is evil for the sake of being evil. I don't think he's an evil genius because I don't think he's very smart. What I think is he's extremely self serving. Everything is about him, and he's willing to do evil things to gain for himself.
I'll say this, he's committed, and I totally agree. He's committed every deadly sin. So what is the one thing that I always hear MAGA people always try to preach about? And it's always religion. Then when you
Yeah.
throw all the stuff that he's done, they got excuse after excuse after excuse on why he did it. But Lord, they dragged Bill Clinton through the mud because he cheated on his wife. Yeah, was Clinton wrong? Of course he was wrong, but that was a situation that he needs to have with his wife and kids. I mean, they just say one thing and then the total opposite. Oh, if Biden did that, oh man, he was this that. Trump does it and it's an excuse. Oh well, he just da 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 da.
Well, the thing,
Make
a
it make sense.
good example of that is, how they kept talking about Joe Biden and he sniffs kids' hair, and none of that was true, and there was no evidence, never
No,
any evidence, and then we get actual evidence of Matt Gaetz paying for sex with a 17-year-old girl, and they go, boys will be boys. It's just there is no understanding of where their mindset is. It isn't about what's right or wrong. It's about our guy is right no matter what, and your guy is wrong no matter what. It's a very tribal, a very cultish type situation. And it's almost like no matter what they do, they're going to side with them or make up excuses or parrot excuses that Donald Trump is giving. It's upsetting because you can't talk to these people and you can't argue with these people because there's no breaking through that bullshit.
no, and we never will be able to break through it. So, um, like I said, I just shake my head. I don't engage with them, and really, if I see them, I'll just be like, um, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna. I live in Trump territory, Trump County.
Right.
I see the Trump hats. I've seen the MAGA shirts. Uh, I just don't engage with it. I'm the one that's gonna put on my Michelle Obama becoming shirt or my 92% black woman shirt. I'm that Democrat that, just like you have the right to wear what you want to wear, the shirt that you choose to wear, so do I. And my thing is, I'm not the one, or I'm not going to give you a pass. So if you come at me disrespectfully because you don't like the attire I have on, I'm gonna match your energy. Meaning I will be very disrespectful to you based on
Yeah.
what you have on. So I thought, I mean, as of now, until Trump gets in office, I thought America was free. If I want to wear Kamala or Michelle or Barack or any shirt that you might not agree with, I have the um leisure of doing it. It's my, as they say, it's my prerogative. You can wear what you want to wear, so can I. I've seen some people approach people about their shirts because it was Kamala's shirt or it was a Barack Obama shirt. I'm not the Democrat that you should do that to. I will match that
Good.
energy.
Good for you. I mean, that's how you got to treat these people because they are bullies, and the only way you can deal with a bully is slap the fucking taste out of their mouth. I've dealt with bullies in my life, and that's the only way they stop if you push back. Let me ask you this: you're in Texas. You're in a big town in Texas. We lost your video, Eulena. Um,
Okay.
there we go. Um, you're a young woman living in Texas, bigger town in Texas, but you live in a county that's dominated by Trump. How do you feel being there? I mean, are you nervous about, you don't seem like a woman that's afraid, but do you get into situations where you feel uncomfortable?
No. Um, and my mother always taught me, um, I mean, we're all human. The same things that I do to you and it affects you, it will affect me.
Right.
Let me say it like this. The same things that I do that can affect me, if it happens to you, it will affect you the same way. There's no difference really. No, I
Right.
don't want no fear. I'm not saying that to be like I'm not scared of anything or anybody. But I don't let people scare me. So I'm not fearful. I know that I've seen a couple of clips, especially on TikTok, of people, MAGA people always attacking, seeing them attack people. I'm not the one to attack. I don't take threats well. I don't threaten you, but I'm gonna say this. I'm from Houston originally, so if you are not from Houston, Houston is like the southern, Houston and Austin, let me say that. It's like the southern part of New York. Um, we don't like Greg Abbott in Houston. Point blank, period. He knows it. We know. We don't like Ted Cruz. I mean, if y'all do remember, he came for the Astro celebration and they were booing him and chucking things at him because we don't like him. Houston is a blue county to the fullest, and we are different there. Houston is a much melting pot. So that's how I think. I believe every culture in America is what makes this country great. Wherever you're from, when you bring different cultures here, that's what makes America great. That's what we're really built on. So I still have that mentality. Houston really and Austin too are the two main cities in Texas that represent that. Houston, as big as it is the fourth largest city in the United States of the world, of the United States of America. I'm sorry, that we really are a melting. If you ever get a chance, if you can see the different cultures in Houston all over the city, they have a Chinatown, they have all of that. So I don't have so racism, yeah, it does exist. I just don't have that mentality of like my grandfathers or my mothers or generation. I think we are all the same. I don't dislike you because of maybe your color of your skin or what you believe in. I dislike you because of the person you are.
Right. Right.
That's why I don't like you. So MAGA has shown me that uh, I thought we, as a country, I knew it was racism, but they showed me that they are still stuck in the 50s, and I wasn't ready for that. It's just the African Americans in my generation, we don't think like that, so we're not going to respond the way my mom or my grandparents responded. We don't respond like that. We kind of just are like, hey, I don't care. Well, I know I'm like that. I don't care what race you are, but if you're a good person, hey, we can be friends. I don't care about
Yeah.
stuff like that. That this it just doesn't. It's just something I'm not. I don't. I
Well,
don't. I don't understand.
it always struck me strange. I grew up with a father who was racist, a mother who was not. So fortunately, I saw my mother more than my father. But it always seemed strange that people would Well, I guess people do this for everything. I think people are prejudiced on all levels. I think Catholics are prejudiced against Lutherans and vice versa. It's all these different things. But what we're talking about with color, people of color, is essentially aesthetics because under that skin, we are all the same thing. We're built the same way. We think the same way. It all depends on our education and such. And it just shows how immature and simple-minded some people are by doing that. I will tell you this too, and there's two things I won't do. I won't think badly of somebody or treat somebody worse because of their color, but I won't back off of somebody who's an asshole just because of their color. What I'm saying is, you're me, I'm you, and as long as we're good people. But if I have a black gentleman coming up to me and he's an asshole or a Trump bumper or whatever, fuck him. You don't get a pass because you're black.
No, you
I think
shouldn't.
that's the essence of equality, and I think that's what we all
It
want.
works, yeah, it works the same way on me. I don't care if you're a black woman for Trump or I mean, like I said, it really shocks me when I see a black woman saying she voted for Trump because I'm like, girl, like seriously. Um, but for and I know a lot of people say for black women, we're saying a lot of us are saying, oh, yeah, we're gonna sit this one out. Yeah, it
Oh,
it
yeah, Old Soul brought that up. That was an interesting take, and I do understand it. Old Soul is this activist, essentially. I don't know if you've ever heard her on the show, but everybody
I
who
did. I
hears her
heard I
loves.
heard some of her points last night. I listened to what some of the things she said, and I agree with some of the stuff she was saying
She
about
she
how.
she was going into Texas and Arkansas and all this stuff, and she was trying to help get the abortion ban voted out in these states. And all the white women were helping, and they thought, well, this is great. We and the white women can get together and get this thing done. And then afterwards, these same white women that were trying to save their state from being a zone where abortion is illegal, then they go vote for Trump. Her attitude was that black women were fucking mad about that, and they stood with the white women trying to fight for the right thing, and now they just don't trust them. And I'm not talking about all white women. I'm not talking about all
No,
black
no,
women, but the
no,
people who were
no,
going after
absolutely.
this. Does that does
It's just
that
like it's not like it's all white men either. It's not like it's all Latino people, Latino women or all. No, it's not like that. But I mean, we thought we were all on the same page. It wasn't about being a black woman or a white woman or a Mexican. It was about being a woman in general. That's what it was about. And the fact that you turned what we thought was unity as a sex. We have a woman. Let's take the fact out that she's black, but she was a woman who have has the same issues and struggles that we have as
right?
women, not even as a like I said, black woman or white woman, as a woman, we were fighting for our freedoms, our liberties. That's what we thought. We were all on the same page. So we thought as a sex, we were uplifting each other. We were going to make sure we were able to maintain and have, because just think, I mean, I wasn't even thought of back then, but in the 20s and the 30s, your great grandmother or your grandmother or whatever fought for these liberties that these women actually voted against. And I think that was the most devastating part, because it really wasn't about race with black women. It was just about women. And the fact that we saw that it was more than 60% or something of white women that went and voted for this man. Because in the polls they were showing that he was losing support, and now he's got 60%. I think it was like a slap in the face, if you will, to
Absolutely.
see these, and especially with that, and the Latino women, it was a slap in the face. And so you had 92%, just think, if 92% black women, 92% white women, 92% of Hispanic women voted against Donald Trump, we wouldn't be sitting up here having this conversation about it's scary for 2025. We would be saying a whole nother tune. We would be like, yes, we're finally making changes. We're going to get some things taken care of, we still have freedoms, we will be singing another tune. But the fact that they just did that, it, and just totally disregarded all of that and just kind of made it a, well, we don't want a woman kind of thing, like kind of like I guess what their husband said was kind of where they were going. It was a slap in the face. And so like I guess like we're at that point where we're tired of it.
Let me
Um,
ask you this about women in general. I've talked to my wife about this. Um, and I'm not trying to throw shade on women. I was on jury duty one time, and there was this woman who was in an accident with a semi tractor trailer, and she was suing, and she should have won. And we're sitting in the jury chambers after, while we're trying to decide. And all the men said, yeah, she deserves whatever she gets. All the women said, no, I think she's this, or I think she's that. It seems like women are harder on other women than you'd imagine. Do you get that sense?
oh, it's not us. It is true. Women, we're harder on other women, especially women who we perceive as a threat. Whether you're more successful, like there's the jealousy streak we can call it. If you see a woman who might have something you might not have or something you may lack, yeah, women are very petty. We'll say it that way. Women can be very petty, and so if they see something in you, anything in you, as you see, I mean, they will try to just be like, oh well, she deserves it, and it's mostly from being, it's a jealousy streak. Women are more, I always say, if you ever get a chance to read, women are like spaghettis and men are like waffles. Men compartmentalize things. They're able to put things in certain things, but women's kind of just run as one. So it's like a noodle. It just keeps going and going. So it, yeah, we're most of the decisions, uh,
Well,
some decisions, let's say, are made off of emotion, but some
absolutely.
are not. So this one was just a hands down. Kamala was the better in everything. She was a fighter for not only women's rights, but just people's rights in general. Just, I mean, she went after corporations. She did a lot. And then the fact that they were saying, well, she's not qualified. I don't know why not. She was what, the prosecutor, the DA, attorney general, a senator, the vice president of America. I mean, what other qualifications did she need?
Absolutely. I learned a lesson about how petty people are, and it's not just women, it's men too. And I learned this lesson when I was in ninth grade. I was at actually two different parties. I was at a ninth grade party, so it was rocking. You can imagine. Anyway, we're in this party, and inevitably, this some friend of a friend comes in, and she's a gorgeous girl. I mean, she's a beautiful girl. And the moment she walks in the door, all the other girls, oh, she's a slut. Jesus Christ. Can you believe the way she's dressed and whatever? Now, now, the opposite of that, if you're a man in an eighth or ninth grade party and this really good looking guy comes in, the first thing the guys are looking him up and down and go, I think I'd kick his ass. I'm pretty sure I could kick his ass. But that's how people are. It's human nature to immediately be threatened by somebody who you perceive is better than you, even if they're not. It's your perception, and you
It
go
is.
on the attack immediately. And I think you're right. I think that's kind of what we saw with Kamala. Who was she? She didn't go through any primaries. She's just a woman. Why should we give her any play? And I don't understand that mentality. You talked about how many white women voted for Donald Trump. I have to be transparent too. 60% of white men voted for Donald Trump. And for me as a white man, a white boomer of all things, that is fucking embarrassing to me because that tells me there's 60% of the white men in this country are dumb or complicit or a combination of both. But I am a guy that likes to see the glass half full. So the positive side to that little fact is that means I'm cooler and smarter than 60% of my people in this country. And at least I got that going for me.
Well, I'll just be honest. I think out of all the people that voted for him, you and the 60% are on the safer side, meaning he cares more to
Yeah.
you. So, uh, but I saw that there was the white man for Kamala and the black man for Kamala and the Hispanic man for Kamala. I think it was Hispanic. I can't remember. Um, I so I have like I come from a blended family, a mixed family. I will say this about Hispanic men. A lot of them have issues, not just with black women, but any women, any kind of woman.
Yeah.
Um, taking lead, and some black men. Uh, and I'll say that a lot of white men, not a lot, but let's just say a majority, and I've worked in corporate America all my life, they have issues taking orders, white, especially white older men, taking orders or being led by any woman. I don't care what your race is. They just don't like it. But it was even worse that she was not only a woman, she was a black woman.
Yeah.
Um, looking in corporate America, I mean, these are things that I'm gonna be honest. As black people, we have to be 10 times better. We have to be on the Michelle Obama level. Let's just say it like that, or Kamala level, Sheila Jackson Lee level. We have to outperform our performance, if
Right.
you get it.
Right. You know, it's funny when you say that some men have problems with taking the lead from a woman or taking direction from a woman. I have to laugh about that because I agree. This is some emotional problem that a lot of men have, their own little fucking egos. But I've been married 41 years. If I wouldn't have allowed a woman to lead me or take control of something, I wouldn't have been married 15 motherfucking minutes. No, seriously, seriously. And you know, it's obviously worked out. And but some men, it's all about ego. And you know, that's why, you know, I will get people coming to my page and make some comment about me or whatever. And I'll say, well, come on. You know, I happen to be good at well, in this town, the black community used to call it the dozens, you know, where you just put each other down and who would ever win. It was kind of like a rap battle, but it was put downs. And so a couple of people have taken me up on it. And my mom told me one time, says, Mike, you got a sharp tongue. You got to pull that back once in a while. And I said, well, I never have, much to my wife's chagrin. But I got to tell you, when there are certain things I will do to other people that I would never do to my wife, never in a million years. And I don't even know why. I think I could take her if we had a fight. It'd be a good fight, but I think I could win. But I'm not even going to step on that.
I don't know. Sometimes women shock men, and they think that they have the upper hand, and then all of a sudden you see a side that you never knew was there, and then you're like, "Wait a minute!" So,
That was the most scary thing when you're in junior high school because girls and boys are about the same, even the same size and stuff because nobody's really grown up. And there was always a girl in the school that was a bad bitch. I mean, she was tough, and she wouldn't she wouldn't be afraid to throw some hands or some feet or whatever. And that was I always try to I always stay back from those people because it's a no-win situation. If a girl wants to fight you and you're still a young teenager and you do anything, if you win the fight, you lose. If you get your ass kicked, you're embarrassed.
yeah, you lose. You poke fun at it. So it's a lose lose. I call it the double end sword. You lose either way it goes. If you beat her up, you lose because you know people gonna say, "Oh, you're this that," and if you lose to a girl, you're like, "Oh, he's weak." So it's the double edged sword. So either
I'm not
way.
stupid. I'm not stupid. So I just made really good friends with those folks, the tough guys and the tough girls. I just, I just made friends with them. And that's the easier thing. Let me ask you, some of these people, women of color who voted for Donald Trump, it just completely confuses me. I don't know how you can see the things you've seen and hear the things you've heard. And especially if you're a person of color, vote for Donald Trump. Like you said, I'm kind of in the protected class right now. I'm an old white man.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't have the fears that a lot of people have. I think it's incumbent on us, people like me, to be out there speaking out and protecting the people that are being put in harm's way, because I think that point is taken even stronger if somebody supposedly, and I mean, a lot of people could say, I'm an old white man, I don't have fucking anything to worry about. Well, I have to worry about my family. I have to worry about the future of the country. When you talk to these people who vote for Donald Trump, do they have a really good reason, or are they just uninformed?
Both. They don't have a good reason. Let me not say that both. They don't have a good in their head it's a good reason. Like I said, they gaslight. So if I say something, because I think one thing they holler about is abortion. Okay. But then they say it's a sin to commit or to have an abortion, and then you talk about the Bible and you say, well, there are abortions that happened in the Bible. Okay, well, now we got to come up with something else. Well, she's this and she's that. Well, I mean, Donald Trump is a cheat. He's a liar. He's a this. I always tell people he committed every sin there is of the seven deadly
Absolutely.
sins. He's committed every single one. And so then they make excuses. Well, he's this and he's that. And then it's like they don't want to be informed. In some instances, this is just the way I feel. I just think that, and I've heard people ask this question, is it that they know they're wrong? And instead of just saying, you know what, I made a decision that was wrong, even though I don't know how they made the decision, even though he said everything he wanted to do. Um, you just don't want to admit that you're wrong, that you just made a stupid, it's not even misinformation because um, mean, he told you what he wanted to do. It wasn't like he didn't say it uh,
Right.
out loud, especially the out loud part. Especially when I see these black Trump supporters who said, I voted for Trump as though it's a flex. And I'm thinking, yeah, you voted for everything that he doesn't want you to have or be a part of. He
Yeah.
doesn't want you. He doesn't want your kind here. Um, I just think that instead of just saying they just made a stupid, because it wasn't misinformed, a stupid decision because they just
Right.
didn't want to see the woman, they'll make excuses and try to gaslight. As you see, I've seen them do it on your show. I saw one dude that you told him to come on your show. He came on your show and you called him, I can't even think his name, and you called him out. He had his list of reasons of why Trump was the better person. And I think this is when Biden was still running. And you just, every point he threw out, you came back with a rebuttal. And then it was a rebuttal with facts. And then I've heard I've even heard them heard MAGA people say something. And then they start quoting like Russian propaganda, Chinese propaganda, Indian propaganda. And you're like, are you serious? Um, I don't. I think that I just think they just don't want to admit that they've made a stupid decision. This is just what it is. It's stupid. It's stupid. You
That,
voted for everything that you probably have or need in some aspects. Some veterans finna lose their benefits. Some people who are on like social programs, welfare and stuff like that. They need to feed their kids. You're finna lose that. Texas, he's already cut the food budget. So in the summertime, he wasn't trying to feed the kids. He doesn't care. And their excuse is, well, it's not up to Trump. It's up to the state. Um,
yeah,
yeah,
that's
okay.
passing that's passing the bucket. The guy you were talking about that I had on, this was quite a while back, right? That I had him
Hmm.
on. His name was HVAC Jeff. And I don't know if you heard what happened afterwards. I did the conversation with him and he was mad because he felt like he was wronged. And I explained to him in the nicest terms, I don't give a fuck. You came on my show, you get what you get. But within a couple of months after that, this guy who was this ardent Trump fan, I found him on TikTok doing lives again, except he changed his handle from HVAC Jeff to rational debater, and he was now supporting Biden.
Well,
So
you depict him for everything. Like he came with all these different points, and I was like, okay. But then here you come with your facts, and people, read them to him, and he was like, well, I got this, and you're like, no. But here you come with yours, and it's like, yeah.
well, see,
Um,
that's the thing is they don't have any argument. They don't have a legitimate argument. That's why if I'm going in talking to a Trump, I'm not worried at all because I know I'm right. I know I'm being truthful, and I know they're flat out wrong. And as long as you can prove they're wrong, they don't have much to say.
well, no, they just get angry. And I've noticed they get angry, and then they start name calling you. They're calling you all kind of names. They're yelling at you. They've lost their cool. Once you've like kind of debunked everything, they begin to lose their cool, which I love to get under. So I'm the one petty girl that if I can get under your skin, I'm gonna keep doing it. But
Oh
when you
yeah.
start proving to them that what they're saying is one, stupid, two, not true, and misinformed, and you just debunk their whole argument that they ran on and that they thought they was going to convince you on why it was okay to vote for him, they get mad. So then they're yelling and they're calling your names and you're in it, and and you just sit there and you listen because now they're unhinged because at that point when you start doing that to me, I know that I've just, as they say, did a checkmate on you, and I have
Eventually.
just, yeah, I've beat you at your own game. I've just told you why this man is not the one to go or vote for. And you've given me you threw the kitchen sink at me, and I was able to tell you why it's not going to work. And now the fact that you don't have any other points to make or any other facts to supposedly facts to give me, now you're mad because now you don't have anything. So all you're going to do is do what he does, cry, whine, call me names, call me this, and think that I'm going to be offended. I've I've heard on one live somebody did call me the N word, and when you do that, it just shows me that you're ignorant and that I have just got
Yeah.
underneath your skin. I've irritated you to the point where now you're finna do the name calling. And for that, I'm here for. Because a roaster, yeah, I like to roast too. So if you want to go there, I can go there with you too. But
Absolutely. Well,
I
with these guys, there's another step they go to after they get mad. And typically I like to, like you say, match their energy. You want to yell and scream, you want to talk some shit, I can talk some shit too. But then when you talk shit back to them, they become the victim. Oh, how dare you bully me? And I always say, I'm a bully, motherfucker, but only to other bullies. And you're a bully, so I'm here to bully your shit out the door. And they don't like that because people like you and I aren't the typical libtards. We're not going to
we're
go,
the
oh, we'll
Jasmine
take the
Crockett.
higher road.
We're the jazz. No, I'm not taking the higher road. I'm the Jasmine Crockett. Like I mean, there was a point of her being as mad as she was with uh Marjorie Taylor Greene to go and ask, well, if somebody, it was a direct aim at her, and it was. I'm gonna be honest. I think she wanted to call her a bleach blonde, bad built, butch body bitch, but she couldn't call the bitch part because she was at work. It's decorum.
Yeah,
But she left all the B out. But uh, I,
I enjoyed
yeah,
that.
I
I
did, and it became a song. Um,
Yeah, I know.
and then I look at that. I look at all the people that he has on his team, from weirdo uh, Marjorie Taylor Greene. You got Dumbo, which is Lauren Boebert. You got Pedo, which is uh,
Matt
Matt
Gates.
Gates. Dumbo and Gomer, which is Jim Dong, and Gomer Pyle is what's his name? Um, something Comer. I can't think of his first name.
James Comer,
Um,
yeah.
James Comer. Um, I mean, the list goes on. You got crazy Laura Loomer, who now is, I guess, spilling the tea. I mean, look at the people he surrounds himself with, and then he's always talking about the best. He always hires the best people. Everybody he deals with is the best people. He has the best this, the best that. I just named all the people that he, well, not Lauren, but the rest of them, Jim and them, and they're all stupid. Stupid.
Yeah, they're definitely all stupid. Just want to remind folks we're talking to Eulena. She is from Texas. This is her first time on the Rational Boomer podcast. We met on a live I did on TikTok. When I first heard her talking, she was pretty fired up. And I explained to her the way she was sounding on that live. It reminds me back in the 70s and 80s when I was in the music business. And oddly enough, I was a representative. I was in Minneapolis around the time Prince was coming out and all the other people. So it was a black music business. So here's this big dumb white guy in the middle of the black music. And I'm hearing conversation. I don't even know what the fuck you just said, but they, because they were younger than I was, but the one thing, and every time these black men would see a young black woman who was kind of fired up, and I had this one singer that was kind of a diva, incredibly talented, but kind of a diva. And the common phrase to her was, "You tripping." And I didn't know what that meant at the time, but she was kind of tripping a little bit. And I loved it because it was good to see somebody of your age uh, having the passion, because that's really what we need going into the next 2 to 4 years. And speaking of passion, you brought up Jasmine Crockett. Now, I love Jasmine Crockett. And one of the things I like about Jasmine Crockett is that she is the absolute nightmare for white Republicans. She's young, she's attractive, she's smart, she's a lawyer, and she don't give a fuck. She will say anything. And I just want to see if you've noticed this. This is interesting, and this is kind of part and parcel for bullies. Remember when AOC came out? And AOC is a strong woman of color, and I love AOC. And she would say the things she said, and everybody would kick her ass and say all these horrible things about her. You know, one thing I notice about Jasmine Crockett? Nobody says shit about her. They might argue with her, but they don't question her abilities, her intelligence. They don't question her heritage. They don't question anything because they know, just set this woman off and it's going to get ugly up here.
Well, you saw how she took down Marjorie Taylor Greene,
Right.
which was epic and it's all. Um, so yeah, she is something. She is a force to be reckoned with. I kind of the Democrat that kind of align with her. I mean, I can be respectful, but don't come for me, as they say, don't come for me and I won't come for you. So if we have that mutual respect for each other, let's just keep it that way. We can be professional, we can agree to disagree or whatever, but the minute you step out of character with me, I will step out with you. And that's what they're not used to. They're used to the, you know, oh, he said that bad thing about me, the Nancy Pelosi's. I'll just sit back and just take the higher route, and I'm not gonna respond. I'm like her. I'm gonna respond every time,
Well,
every time.
I've always told people, I'm not a bad guy. I'll just give you what you give me. If you're nice and
No,
respectful, I'll be nice and respectful whether I agree with you or not. If you're a prick, well, my wife will attest to the fact that I can be even a bigger prick. And so it's funny. I noticed that same kind of behavior for somebody like me that I'm seeing with Jasmine Crockett, and this is why I bring it up. In every family there are people that talk shit about other people in the family. They go, "Oh, I don't like that one because she's such and such." You know what never happens? That never happens when I'm around because they don't know what the fuck I'm going to say. So that's the same thing with Jasmine Crockett. You don't want to light that firecracker because that shit's going to explode in your face. And that should be a lesson for the Democrats. We
the
need to
one
be
thing
more
I
like
can say,
Jasmine Crockett to win.
Oh yeah, definitely. The one thing I am saying, so we no longer have Nancy Pelosi. Thank God. I mean, she did what she did. We have Hakeem Jeffries, and the one thing I like is he speaks. He's kind of that. He's got a little rebel in him too. You know,
Yeah,
not as much as she does, but they're united. If he says no, it's a no across the board.
right.
For the Democrats and for the Republicans, and I'm gonna say this. Um, I think things happen for a reason. So let's just go back in history. It took 2 years of George, I mean, 2 terms of George Bush for us to vote our first ever Black president into office.
Right.
Um, Donald Trump came in 2016, and even okay, Hillary lost. I said, okay, well, he's the president. Let's see what he does. I said maybe he will do something. I didn't know. I mean, of course, when he became elected and he was the president, that's when we found out everything he wasn't a businessman. Everything he did failed. He went bankrupt so many times. We didn't know all that. So, and then COVID hit, and he didn't handle that. So he showed us how he truly was. But I say that to say this: the Republican Party, since it is now Donald Trump's party, are exposing so much corruption. And I'm thinking
Yeah.
maybe it's gonna take this, which it's sad to see this, but for this whole country to get back to where we need to, he has to take that party down. He
Yeah.
has to get, and maybe the Republican Party probably has to go. They're too far into corruption. So although these people, and that's why I think when I came on your show, I mean on your live on TikTok, I told you I don't care. I don't care what happens to anybody that voted for him. If you were a veteran that voted for this man and your benefits get cut, I don't care. You voted for it. If you are some kind of, and let me be real clear about this, in Texas, Greg Abbott has put up billboards, Central Texas and Mexico, to let you know that if you come here or you try to come here illegally, there are billboards that say that, hey, we have sex traffickers and everything, and whatever happens to you and your family, he didn't care. They're not going to prosecute it or anything. So he's basically telling you, don't come here. He said he's putting that up to put, so they won't come over here. So he's putting these
Scare them. Yeah.
billboards up, yeah, to scare him not to come until, according to him, Trump gets into office and secures our border like he did the last time. Yeah, right. Um, I'm very passionate about those who voted for him. I do want you to get everything you voted for in the worst possible way. And the sad thing is, me and you and your family, your children, your grandchildren, people you may love, we have to suffer because of these stupid people who just didn't take enough time to say, you know what, you know, you, I, I don't even know if you like Donald Trump, but the fact that you didn't vote for Kamala because she was a Black woman, now you have caused this country devastation. And now we're a laughing stock because now they're knowing that I think probably over half of Americans, that's what it looked like, is stupid because they voted for this man. So we're a laughing joke. We've lost respect. He can't go to certain countries because what? He's a felony. I'm sorry, he's a felon. I'm sorry. So it's certain countries he can't even go to.
Right.
Um, I just can't. I can't say it with enough passion. If you voted for this man and you benefited from any kind of social project, any kind of social security, any kind of Medicare, and the thing is, my mother is of age and she's on social security and she has Medicare, and because of these stupid people that voted for this man, she has to suffer. And that's what really, really, really pisses me off. And that's why when they try to do this, we need to get along. And I say, I give you the finger. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Because of you, this country now is going to suffer. We are for sale, basically. This country is for sale. I will never respect anybody that says that they voted for this man. I have no respect for you. I don't even really want to conversate with you. You don't have anything in common with me. You don't have empathy. You don't sympathize. You don't have critical thinking skills. So what do I want to talk to you for? Why would I want
No,
to
I
be your
talk to
friend?
I've talked to people about this before, and some people, Democrats especially, say, I'm glad when this is all over, we can come together again. And I always say, I'm sorry, there is no forgiveness for this. I will never have any respect or any concern about anybody that ever voted for Donald Trump. If I live to be 84 years old, 20 years from now, and I meet a Trump humper, I will hate them as much as I hate them today. And the reason I hate them isn't because what they've done to me, because I'm in the protected class. I am on Social Security and I will be getting Medicare in a few months. I don't think they're really going to be able to pull anything off of that because it's just political suicide to do that. I think they just like to bark and they like to say things to appease the wealthy. But there is no forgiveness ever for this. You've committed the ultimate act. And when I say ultimate act, what I mean by that is I'm not worried about me or my wife, but I'm worried about my kids. I'm worried about my grandkids. I'm worried about younger people like you that will still be here having to deal with the bullshit after I'm long gone. And if you do that kind of damage to that many people for that long a time, you are the worst of the worst. And there is no forgiveness for you.
I don't forgive. I don't. So
And I
I
don't
had passion
forget.
and I don't forget. So the passion is there, the anger's there. And that's why I say when I see people or I hear these people saying, especially if they say, I voted for Kamala, but we need to get over it and come together, you're a Trumper. So therefore, get out of my face. Because
Do you, do you,
anybody, hmm?
do you feel Democrats are weak? I mean, I'm mad with Democrats
Some
too,
are.
as much as anybody. How about you?
Some are very weak. Some of, I think we have some strong ones.
Yeah.
I think this high road thing, uh, I I think it is. I don't know where this mentality came from. I was always taught, like my mother always taught me, if somebody hits you, you hit them back.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
you don't walk away because as we're seeing now, it makes you look weak.
And it just
Um,
opens you up for more attacks because they know you're an easy
and that's
mark.
what we're doing. Yeah. So I mean, I don't think we should go to the extreme that MAGA did. They're threatening people and all that stuff like that. But there's a time when we need to make a stand and stand up and fight back. Now we don't do things that they do. We're not going to call people that we didn't agree with and threaten their lives, threaten their children, things like that. But you stand up. You stand up. You can fight with your words. You can
Yeah.
fight with your words. And that's what they haven't been doing. So it's like you'll run over. So when I see people that see or maybe no, they probably already know I'm a liberal, but you know, and they think that I'm gonna take the higher road. Well, when I snap back, they're shocked. Like,
Yeah.
oh, oh, you're not gonna take that. No, ma'am. No, ma'am, Pam. I'm not gonna take it. Just because you thought you can dish it, I'm not the one to dish it to. Point blank, period. I mean, I've even saw on TikTok it was a lady who was, I guess, trying to antagonize. And sometimes I feel like when they're saying, because I'm sure you heard the rumor that they said that women who are liberal women are wanting to come and mess with the
Yeah. Yeah. They're gonna
okay,
go
you heard
attack
yeah,
Trump will fuck women.
women. Okay, so one, if that was the case, it would have happened. You would have heard cases about it. That's just not what we do. We're not you guys. We don't think like that. But I saw a lady on TikTok, and sometimes I think it's really directed toward me as a Black woman, African American women, and she was kind of like saying, "I'm putting on blush," and she starts pulling out a bullet and says, "Oh, I didn't mean that brush." And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm Kamala. She told you, and so did Jasmine, as well as I, because I'm in Texas. Um, boo, we wanted just gun regulations. We didn't say get rid of all of them. Just have some kind of regulations. Everybody doesn't need one. Um, so it's like they imply that they want to harm us, and I'm thinking it's directly directed more toward Black women because we really were the liberal women, the 92% of them. I think it's more
Right.
directed toward us than any other.
Oh, I
Um,
agree. I agree. It's just part and parcel to what they do. They're bullies and they're trying to intimidate you. And the way they win, because they don't have really anything to back themselves up, the way they win is if you say, oh my, that's terrifying, I'm going to step back. But you're not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. A lot of people aren't going to do that. This is their
No,
only tactic. This is what bullies do, but bullies are cowards, so it's not hard to break them.
I think we've all encountered bullies. I know how to deal with bullies. I'm not gonna say I haven't encountered. I even had a boy bully, and I had cousins that were I have cousins that are older than me. They're all boys, and they used to tell me, you don't let nobody just do anything, because if you let them do it, they'll keep doing it because they think you
Right,
can. You have to get
right,
them straight
exactly.
the first time. So I just I say that to say that I'm thinking it's directed toward us, but please be clear. Um, we have, I mean, I protect myself. I have sticks. Uh, so, but I have them legally. I use them for protection. I don't take them out with me, and I don't know why they think that threatening people with bullets is the answer to fixing a problem. Um, but then
Yeah,
again,
just all about
I'm
intimidation. They, none of
not
them have the
that.
courage to really do. Most of these people don't have the courage to do them. You're talking about gun regulation. People should be able to have guns. I have nothing, I don't own a gun, but I don't have a reason for one. So I don't own one. I would if I did have a reason for it. I'm not afraid of guns. I just, when you talk about regulations, it's just let's keep fucking automatic weapons or semi automatic weapons away from 16-year-old kids with emotional problems. That seems like a pretty fucking easy job.
It does. It does. What A 50 was it AR-15?
Yeah.
When you shoot something, it shreds it.
Yeah.
So that's not protection. That's mutilation. So yeah, it's if I yes I but I do get frustrated. I am very frustrated. I'm very upset, and I just want, if any MAGA person ever is listening to this, I will never bow down. I will never kiss the ring. I would never want to be or try to come in one and try to, as they say, unite. I will never unite with you people. I will never unite with a person who thinks that a felon who lies, cheats, and steals and believes that he doesn't have to pay or he's not accountable for anything and he should be able to do whatever he wants to, should be any kind of president or anything for me. I voted for the woman who fought for rights for me and you. Should anything happen to you, she was a prosecutor. She fought for you. She went up against, I think I even told one of them, she went up against corporations that were trying to charge outlandish rent to people, and won the case. I mean, these are the things that she did. And
But
yeah.
people have said to me, you do what you do on TikTok and podcasts. Aren't you afraid of Trump fucks coming up to you and threatening you and doing all that shit? And I'm really not. My only fear about being confronted by a Trump fuck is I hope I have my old shoes on
So you
because I
can
don't
beat
want
that.
to waste. No, I don't want to waste my good shoes because one of them's going to be up their ass and I'm going to lose it. So
I, I,
seriously, I'm
I
64.
get,
I'm not the fighter I used to be. I'm not incredibly tough, but in my
pushover.
old age, I'm not a pushover, and I may not be as tough and have as much stamina as I did before. But I will tell you, I can be fucking mean if you're trying to hurt me or my family. I'll come up with creative ways.
Oh yeah, and so will I. I'm as you are. I'm very protective of my family, so I totally understand. But like I said, it behooves me. I'm still upset. I'm still upset about the election, and that's why I think when I see people say let's unite, he won, he's our president, we need to unite.
Fuck
It
that.
yeah, and that's the thing that I have. And then to hear or to see people who really, especially African Americans, who this really does, because it's really, they don't want you here uh,
No.
to vote against everything. I mean, look at who he did not put in his office. He didn't put the people that rallied with him. He put stupid. He put Herschel Walker as an ambassador of Jamaica. Really?
Bahamas.
Oh, Bahamas. Really?
Herschel has
He
got to
didn't
be the
pick.
dumbest motherfucker I've ever
He is
seen.
dumb. He is dumb. But but I don't expect Trump to get anything, the best of anything. The best of everything that he has is it doesn't mess with him anymore. Milley, General Milley, I don't agree with a lot of Milley's stuff. I really don't. I think sometimes he is like, no. But the one thing I do agree, and I will fight side by side with him, is the fact that we do not surrender our country to no tyrant, somebody who wants to be a dictator. I will
Right.
fight on the battle line with General Milley about that on day any day, because I believe that that is what the oath was for. That's what we took the, or I'm not in the military and I'm not gonna say, but I understand the military, that's what they took it for. And then this idiot just believes that because he's president, he should and can do whatever he wants to. And these stupid people voted that he should be able to do what he wants to, not realizing that they are or will be in the crossfire, and he's not going to care. He's not going to care if you can't feed your kids. He
No,
doesn't care.
I have a theory about the people he's appointing. Um, he's got a bunch of dumb fucks he's appointed. That goes without saying. People that are inappropriate or uneducated or just don't know anything about that particular area. He's just appointing friends. Uh, but I think part of the reason he's doing that is over and above he's just incompetent. I think after the first term, and he got some people that were quasi normal and legitimate for the jobs. I don't think any legitimate people want to go through that again in this term, what those people went through in the first term. They see it's a shit show. They know they're going to end up fired or quitting or indicted or something. And they just don't want any of that. So Donald Trump doesn't really have that many great choices to choose from.
No, no, he doesn't. And the fact that everything, and I was the only thing I was so I was shocked, but I was so happy when Liz Cheney, out of the most conservative of conservatism, stood
Yeah.
up and said no, lost her seat, and because she stood up against this man and said what you did was an insurrection and it's wrong. She stood up and she fought. I was like, wow. I was wild. And I thought she would, other Republicans would take heed and follow, because according to them, they're supposed to be the conservative of Ronald Reagan. And I don't really think he was the great president. I was a baby then, but from what I've read in history, he didn't sound like he was the greatest, but he was patriotic. He had no respect for Russia, really.
Right.
And I thought these Ronald Reagan Republicans were going to follow heat and get this man out of office and embarrass him, basically. And they didn't. And
They
it
had
let
the
me know that
opportunity and they
they
chose not
did.
to.
They did. And it was all, and the one person I blame for a lot of this, the Supreme Court, and a lot of this, the impeachment of not remove him, is Mitch McConnell. And I think about that when he denied Barack Obama from appointing two Supreme Court justices and gave it to Donald Trump. And now look what we have. We have the most
Right.
corrupt and immoral Supreme. I wouldn't listen to anything they say. If they say the sky is blue, I mean green, I wouldn't believe it. I don't trust them. I don't understand how we got to this point. I do, but I don't.
You would,
And
you
it's
just,
sad.
you understand how it happened, but
I
you
do.
never imagined that could happen
It
here
would.
with
Yeah.
all that we've
Yeah.
gone through all these years.
Yes.
It's just, I think Mitch McConnell is culpable. I think the media is culpable. And I think Merrick
Absolutely.
Garland is culpable for where we are right
Yes.
today.
Speak that. Because as soon as he left office, he should have been trying to get he should have had Jack Smith on that case. He should have went on that immediately. As soon as Donald Trump left office, that case should have been taken care of. And he didn't do anything. He's the other reason. I agree with all three of those people you just said. I totally agree. I
Yeah.
totally agree.
I don't know
I
if you heard
totally
this. I don't know if you heard this story. You brought up Marjorie Taylor Greene. Uh, uh, Marjorie Taylor Greene is a goof. She's stupid.
She
She
did
is
it.
the poster girl for Miss Neanderthal America.
She is.
She's she's a bitch. There's no question about it. But it's funny, the Matt Gaetz thing when they decided to release the report, and she was all upset about that. She said, "Listen, if you release that report, I'm going to release all the reports on all the rest of you motherfuckers." And everybody thought, well, she's just saying that because she's a loudmouth. But she got somebody else in the House to put it on the floor to release information about this alleged $17 million slush fund to pay off people's problems. So I don't know if it'll actually be voted on to be released, but it's interesting to know there is such a slush fund specifically to pay people off for fucked up shit that people in Congress have done. She may be opening a Pandora's box that may cost her a lot when this is all said and done.
Well, her and Laura Loomer are going at it too. So Laura said she's going to expose Congress too. So, like I said, I believe everything happens for a reason, and I think it had to happen this way. Even though it's the worst way, and now we're seeing they're turning on each other. They're fighting amongst each other. Everybody wants to be the chief, but nobody wants to follow. You know what I mean? So you got Elon, he thinks he's gonna run it. You got Trump saying he's running. You got Vivek think he's gonna do something. Everybody wants to be the chief. So I think maybe this is what it had to come to this, and we're actually watching the demise of MAGA and the Republican Party. And it just has to come to this, that they have to keep going at it this way, and they are going to demolish each other based off of all this stupid shit that they're doing. It's just the fact that now, as a country, because of people who are so stupid, I'm sorry, it's costing us. Because I'm not part of the 1% class, and I guarantee you, most of the people that voted for him are
Yeah.
not. We're going to have to suffer. We have to go through this along with them. The difference is, and I just want to say, like, I know a lot of African Americans, we've had hardships, so I guess sometimes we can kind of just start adjusting to things and making it work for us, as some people can't. But this right here, I think, is going to be just the dismantle of the Republican Party, MAGA itself. They have no kind of cohesiveness together. It's just fragmented. It's just everywhere. One party's this way. As you see, they went to, I saw on one of the posts that JD Vance put, somebody put that his family wasn't them, because his family, his wife is Indian and his children are mixed. I
Next.
saw
Yeah.
that you saw that they're slamming him now because of the comment he made about the immigration. What is it? H1, the immigration one for that.
H1B1, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So they're just fragmented. They're just parts of parts of parts of parts, and I think they're just dismantling, and it's just happening before our eyes. But the fact that we have to suffer because of the stupidity of some people and the hatred of some people because of the color of the skin, or whatever sexual or whatever religion you are, or anything like that. Um, it has to come to this, and I think that's probably. But I've never been so mad. I think I cried. I'm not gonna lie. I think I cried when I saw she had lost, because I was so mad and so angry that people still are willing to just stick with this, I guess, one trained mind that um I don't know if I don't know if it's just the woman aspect of it, even though most men, when they're in trouble, who do they run to?
Yeah.
Mama makes the problems go away.
Yeah.
She
Absolutely.
helped.
Well, the thing about it is you bring up the good point about the self-destruction of the Republican Party. And I'll be honest with you, I thought that was going to happen after 2022 with the way things were going at the midterms and all that stuff, and Donald Trump. And then, of course, they reach out and bring them back in the fold, which I think ultimately they will realize that was the worst mistake they ever made. But when you see what's going on now, you've got You've got Elon Musk doing what he's doing with this H1B1 thing. Yeah, let's get rid of the brown people, but the brown people that are tech people will bring them in, mainly
You hear?
because he can get them cheaper. Now MAGA's mad at Elon. Now MAGA's mad at Vivek Ramaswamy. And the big thing was, which side is Donald Trump going to take? And he apparently sided with Elon Musk. So all
I
these
figured that.
people that prayed to Donald Trump are now seeing him go against their best interests. The question is, do they get mad at Donald Trump, or do they do what cult members do and just forgive him for anything? I don't know which way it's going to go, but when you got that much turmoil in this party before you even take power, that's going to be a problem.
Well, let's see. History is repeating itself, and what have they done historically? They excuse his behavior. Oh, it's this.
Right.
Oh, it's that. So I expect more excuses. I think it comes to the breaking point when it starts to truly, and I mean truly affect them, is when
Right.
they begin to break away. And it has not truly affected them yet. So that's why I say it's heartbreaking that we who knew what he was have to suffer and watch them. That's why I when I told you that I want the worst, whatever those who voted for Trump, I want them to feel it the worst, because I think once they get to that point, that's when they'll break and they'll be like, no, no more. But they have to suffer the hardest. And I mean, the hardest. And it's sad that we have to suffer with them. I pray to God, like, I say those who did vote the right way, we know we're going to have to go through it too, just not as hard. I want them to go through it the hardest because this is what they voted for. And I think once they really get to the lowest of the lowest, they'll break and they will
Yeah.
say no more.
It's like being a drug addict or alcoholic. You got to hit
Exactly.
rock bottom before you fucking
Rock
realize it.
bottom.
Yeah, the thing about it is that what the Trumplafucks don't understand, they're dealing with a narcissist. I've dealt with a narcissist in my life, and here's what they don't understand: these narcissists will tell you anything, do anything, act any way they possibly have to get what they want from you. And once they get from what they want from you, you don't matter anymore. You're cast aside. And this is where we are with Donald Trump. There's nothing more he can gain from these people. He'll be able to grift money from the big money people, just taking bribes and shit like that. He doesn't need their money anymore. He doesn't need their votes anymore. So they don't mean shit to him. And he's proved
No,
it by siding with Elon Musk over MAGA. These people are going to be devastated because the one guy that was going to help them all the way doesn't give two fucks about him and never did, but he fooled them.
I don't even know how he fooled them. That's the thing I be trying to figure out. Like, I don't even see how he could have fooled you, how he did this to you. How did he make you so blind that you couldn't see what everybody else saw, what the world, not just those who voted against him, but the world saw? He was
Yeah,
a joke.
most people can read people to a certain extent. Like say if you're going out on a date with some guy or some girl or whatever you're doing, and you're meeting this person for the first time, within about 10 minutes, you can probably tell what kind of human this is. And if it's a bad one, you get away from them as quickly as possible. Apparently, these people don't have that skill. They, like I said, everything you've heard and seen and what he's done, and you still don't get it.
I
Wow,
don't
that's a
know.
special kind of stupid.
It's beyond stupid. Like it breaks my heart. And I always, like I told you, I am a fan. I've been a fan for a while. I don't know how I came on your page one time, but I did, and you had you had the attitude that I have. Like, don't try me. I'm really not the one. But if you want to go, because I saw you would go toe to toe with them, and I'll even give you one. I don't know if I took it out your playbook or not. I had responded to a compliment on TikTok with a woman. Of course, she was MAGA, and I think I said something about. I think I put F. So what she ended up doing was she tagged me, or you know how they post, and
Yeah.
responded to mine. And she was like, "I don't care about you, this, that, and the other, and this and that." So me being who I am, I politely text her on that post. I said, well, apparently I got underneath your skin because you just did a whole skit off of my one comment and posted it for everybody to see it. And she blocked me. So I
Yeah.
was like, okay. Um, I just don't know what the gaslighting. I don't know how you can be gaslighted. I can't even understand. And now, speaking of money, he has where you can come join him in church on Christmas, that's New Year's Eve. You can go
Oh,
to church
wow.
with him for $100,000. Now you got to pay. It's not free. But if you want to attend church with Donald Trump on New Year's Eve, it's $100,000 to attend.
You're
That's
probably
the
too
new bill.
young to you're probably too young to remember. Donald Trump reminds me of somebody who was on TV, and you're probably too young to watch it first run, but maybe you saw reruns and stuff. There was a show called Green Acres.
No, I've
Green
never
Acres
seen.
was about this city guy and his city wife. It was not Eddie Arnold, Eddie Albert, and Ava Gabor, who's the ultimate New York, you know, pretty girl and stuff. And they moved to this farm, and they're going to try to farm, and they're just don't belong there. And in this show, it's a little teeny town, and there's this guy that always comes through that always has a scam or something stupid to sell, and his name was Mr. Haney. Now, you don't know who that is, but all the old motherfuckers out here know exactly who I'm talking about. And that's what Donald Trump reminds me of. He's always got some kind of scam, he's always got some kind of ploy to make money. He's supposed to be making America great again, and all he's trying to do is fill his fucking pockets. How much more obvious does he have to be?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you saw the ugly shoes. They bought that. I mean,
Yeah.
the all the stuff. The what is it? Didn't he cut his suit up that he wore to an indictment? And I mean, if there was a Democratic presidential candidate that did half of the things that he's done, he would be out so fast. Your career is totally over. And it
Right.
used to be that way about Republicans. I don't know when they became such. Well, I guess maybe I can understand because we're finding out a lot of them were criminals as well. So, it makes sense. You hang with the people you are. He's a criminal. There look like a lot of them were criminals. So okay, but I think it's just the demise. We're seeing the demise of what they think is something that's getting started and it's going to be magnificent. They're fragmented. They're turning on each other. They're a joke. I mean, you're starting to see people be like, yeah, on the FA, I hope I don't lose my benefits. I hope you're gonna lose them. So just be prepared. Just be ready.
Don't
Just
come
be ready.
crying to us if you need help, because I'm not helping
So
anybody.
please, I'm
But
not.
the world has changed, politics has changed, the way people see things has changed. In 1975 or thereabouts, when Nixon resigned because he was involved in Watergate and all that stuff, the reason he resigned is because the Republicans came to him and said, "Dude, it's up. You got to go." The Republicans did that. And there was limitations even then with a guy who's as corrupt as Richard Nixon. Apparently, there are no restrictions. I mean, because Donald Trump has done literally everything. And people say, well, the seven deadly sins. What about gluttony? Have you ever seen that motherfucker eat a Big Mac? That fucker's
They say
got it there
that's all
too.
he did. He eats his McDonald's. I mean, look at his shape. I mean, I'm not gonna talk about. I'm not the smallest person, but I don't think I'm as big as Donald Trump. He's
I'm an
glutton.
overweight guy. People say, "How dare you fat shame Donald Trump?"
It's
And I
not that
said,
shame.
I'm out of shape guy too. That I'm an old white guy who's out of shape, so I feel like I got a pass. I can say whatever I want. They go, well, you're heavy too. Yeah, okay, I'm cool with that. But Donald Trump is a fat fucking orange pig. And if people don't like me saying that, too fucking bad. You can call me, and I get called names every day. I don't give a shit.
You know what the difference is between you and Donald Trump? So you know who you're saying, like, I know I'm overweight this and that. Have you seen how he views himself? He's posted himself with like G.I. Joe bodies and Superman. That's the difference. You see who you like, okay, yeah, I'm a little bit overweight. So what? It is what it is. This man thinks he is sexy. He says that he's the best looking man. He has the best body. He's in the best shape. And then you see him on the golf course panting like he about to pass out from just doing a walk from one place to another. I mean, that's the difference. That's why, we make fun of him. And those that say these things about him, he's not the best looking guy. Um, I don't think he's that
He claims
attractive.
he, he claims to be 6'4" and 235. Yeah.
Oh, is it
I,
2.5? Yeah, okay. And
I've
I
got a
am
son that's 6'3", 235, and they don't look anything alike.
I'm sure they don't, because I mean that means your son, he's nice and lean, he's in shape,
Yeah,
nice physique.
relatively
Uh,
so.
yeah,
He's in his
so
upper 30s now, so it's kind of going south, but he still looks good.
yeah, it happens. Age does, metabolism slows down. I get it. I wasn't always plump either, so but I get it. But Donald Trump doesn't. He has the best everything, and I think that's why when when we start talking about him, like, no, he's not. He doesn't look like that. He doesn't look like Superman. He doesn't even have a Superman body. He's never had a Superman body. And I used to watch The Apprentice because I kind of liked it, but you couldn't pay me to watch it today. I kind of like looking at business and marketing and things like that, Shark Tank and
Right,
stuff.
right, right.
Mark Cuban,
Mark
what's his
Cuban
name?
and
Yeah, kind of one of my favorite guys to look at because he's really smart when it comes to business. But he has his own. I mean, his own. He pictures himself one way. He thinks he's the smartest, the best looking, the everything. And then you're like, no. And the thing is, they know. I think they know he's not. Um, but
you would hope so. You know, the
I
reason
think
I call him names or some other narcissist names, people say, well, that's childish. I don't give a fuck.
that
But the reason I do that is because I understand narcissists. You can call them a criminal, you can call them a thief, but that's not nearly as bad as trying to embarrass them.
that's
That's
the
the
key.
thing that gets them the worst. So that's why
That's
I
the
think
key.
henceforth we should embarrass them at every moment.
Oh, we do. Well, he's in his feelings now because we've called him the vice president and Elon Musk's president. So he had to make sure that we knew he was president and Elon Musk is not president. So, I mean, that's
We
the
need
best
to
way.
ramp
I
that
mean,
up. We need to keep doing that.
they're posting it now. I saw a couple of posts, and we just need to keep digging at him. Just he's so, like, he always has this tough image, but he's so fragile. And when I hear MAGA people say he's so tough, he's fragile. I mean, if you make fun of him, if you call him stupid, and people laugh, he's embarrassed. If you say he's fat and people laugh, he's embarrassed. He doesn't like to be embarrassed. And
Don't like to be
that's why,
wrong either.
yes. And so you saw when Kamala, a prime example at the debate when she was calling him out, what was the thing he jumped to when he didn't have anything to respond? Oh, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. In my mind, I figured that I knew most people at that point was never going to vote for that man because he sounded crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, he sounded crazy. And they were all on Joe Biden about, having, and I think they said he was kind of ill. I think he had like a cold or something. And
Yeah.
let's just be honest, you don't have a great day every day at work. There are some days you might not be on your P's and Q's. That that's just life. Sometimes you might not feel good, and then sometimes you're just not as sharp as you usually are. But it doesn't take away from the fact that Joe Biden is smart and he still is out there playing chess while they're playing hopscotch. They're not even playing the same sport. This
What I
man
always
has
thought,
a
yeah, I always thought that if Joe Biden had been at his best that day, it's still a mismatch of energy. You got a loudmouth guy that lies so often you can't catch him on everything, and Joe's a little more subdued at his best, and he's talking about intelligent things. And we're in a world now that doesn't appreciate facts and truth. they're all about sensationalism and tabloid type of shit. And so they, if you looked at that debate, Joe, in terms of substance, Joe Biden won by a mile.
He did.
But in this world, they take the person who talks the loudest and the toughest must be the winner, which is absolutely ridiculous. But now that we know that, now we know that that's what it takes to get people to think you win. That's why I'm saying for the next 4 years, we got to be loud in their face, talking some shit. And as much as I didn't like Donald Trump winning, talking loud and getting in people's face and talking some shit, that's my specialty. I got to, as much as I don't like
Gotta go
Donald
for
Trump,
it.
I'm going
Yeah.
to have me some fun.
Yes, you got to. Otherwise, you'll be miserable, and that's the enjoyment I get out of it. When I go on TikTok and I find these people that voted for him and now they're on here crying about how they've been mistreated or they were misled or something, I'm gonna leave a comment for you people and tell you, good. I'm so happy you got that because you voted for it. That's just me. I'm gonna make sure you understand that you voted for this, and I'm so happy you are getting what you wanted. So I am that person on TikTok. I do comment on FOs, sad stories. Because I even commented on the guy, what was it, Alex, somebody whose neighbor told him his kids couldn't play with his
Yeah,
kids.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I tell you what, we're going to wrap it up here pretty quick. I just want to say that I appreciate you coming on because you have the kind of voice that I want to make sure gets out there. The people that aren't going to step back, the people that aren't going to cow away from what these people do. We have to be strong and we have to be tough, and we may have to do things that some people might think are immature, but we got somebody says, what do you think we need to do? I said, I think we need to do anything. The only thing we have to be worried about is winning, and whatever it takes to win, that's what we need to do, because losing isn't an option in this point. We've got to do whatever it takes, and if we have to meet their energy and be assholes, I'll sacrifice myself and make me an asshole, or a bigger asshole than I may already be.
I'm willing
But
to fight for the. I'm fighting for the cause too. I agree. I'm a match your energy, so I can be loud too. I can be obnoxious. I can be rude. I can be mean. I can do all of that. So I think that's just I'm gonna end my part. I'm gonna match Republic. I'm gonna be as just as loud. The only thing I'm not gonna do is I'm not gonna go out there and do and cause harm to people who are innocent. But if you come for me, I will come back for you. I match energy.
well, thank you for not coming after me today. That would have made this a whole lot tougher. And what I would suggest to you is when this will go up, this goes up Monday, and go check the comments in the uh, uh, in the YouTube version of this. People will make comments, and I know people are going to love you and have comments and questions and stuff. Uh, I just want to say one other thing, though. I had this young man on yesterday, 23-year-old farmer from Illinois, very smart
Okay.
kid, very articulate kid. He was
I
he was
heard him.
just getting he was just getting over a cold, and he was clearing his throat a lot. Okay, no big deal. Shit happened. I mean, I've done this show with a cold, and people will come back and say, "Why don't you sleep? I'm tired of hearing you coughing." My attitude is, "Fuck you. I'm here every day. I said I'd be here every day, and I'm going to be here every day." But some people came to the comments, and they were very appreciative of this young man because we get a chance to talk to a Gen Z on a program where there's a lot of old people. But there were a few people in there who go, I can't listen to him because he's clearing his throat all the time. I'm going to tell the people who listen to this show, I got people coming after me every day, every day. And that's fine. I put myself out there. I put it up. I put myself at risk of that. And I can deal with it. I don't care. But if you ever come after any of my guests, you get one chance. You say anything negative about guests, you're insulting them, you're insulting me, you're fucking gone. I don't want you here. I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican, black or white. If all you can, I said, listen, man, you listen to this show. It's an hour and a half show. And the only thing you got out of it was that the kid clears his throat too much. Fuck you. You're too stupid to be here. You're ignorant. I don't want you here. So I'm just warning you. If you don't have something nice to say, shut the fuck up. Now, with this young lady coming on, I can't, 99.9% of everything, every comment I get about every guest is absolutely positive. But there's always some people out there that aren't happy unless they're fucking miserable. And don't send that shit my way because I don't want it and I will get rid of it. So anyway, I'm not trying to scare you that anybody's going to say any bad
Oh no,
shit about you.
I'm not scared. And let me be very clear. Uh, People talking about me. I mean, I'm the kind of person my mom taught me. She said people are gonna talk about you whether you do something great or bad. You're gonna be a topic.
Right,
So
right.
if you don't like me because of something I said, then that's cool. And you got to go the roasting route. That's cool too. It takes a lot to hurt my feelings, and you're talking about certain things, nose, lips, stuff like that. That doesn't bother me. I know who I am. I'm confident in who I am and trust and believe. If I was to roast you, your feelings would hurt too. So stuff like that, people talking about me, no, that doesn't bother me. Not at
Well,
all. I'm like you.
and I and I'll put this out there. Anybody who wants to talk shit about me or any of my guests, you are cordially invited to come on the podcast, and then we'll see how tough you are. Other people have tried it, and you might end up crying, but I'm not going to go easy on it. If you are that kind of person, then you deserve it in response, and I'm happy to give it to you. So show us how tough you are. Anyway, we're lucky on this podcast. 99.9% of the people are wonderful people. We have a quality audience, and I'm proud of that. Um, Eulena, I'm very happy you chose to come on as quickly as you did after that live. I knew it would be a good conversation. I know people will like you. So thank you very much for taking the time out to do this.
Thank you for having me, and I'll continue to listen.
Thank you very much. And for those listening to this show, thank you for taking the time to do that. I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.